And I mean, they be a maturity say obedience is better than sacrifice.
Child of God, this morning I'm speaking to you on a sermon titled Obedience is Better Than Sacrifice.
Obedience is better than sacrifice.
Look into somebody's eyes and tell them obedience is better than sacrifice.
From Sunday school. One thing is Sunday school.
This phrase is something we have heard, especially from Sunday school.
Now, I kasa Kristo for ta kotu, but I'm say at the chrono client the name ye.
And it is a phrase most Christians quote, but they don't know what it entails.
Lift up your
hand and say obedience.
Yes, I for the ball.
It's better than sacrifice.
Can I say, Mamma, no, I didn't show Trimadi coffee. Cassa suti.
Obedience.
Can you hear Mamma? Cassa suti.
Obedience.
A yet chain for the ball.
It's better than sacrifice.
Tiamuka say obedience.
Sutie.
It's better than sacrifice. Amen.
Amen.
Sir, adia way a see what odiphobia your friend Samuel.
This happened in the life of a prophet by name Samuel.
It happened between Samuel, Saul, and then God.
This happened between Samuel, Saul, and God.
Samuel, Saul, and Onyankopon entem.
It is something that happened between Samuel, Saul, and God.
I sent to question the Abusa say, dear na ekosoro. So esi wo akwasi ajoane ama omona na yedete no woman tem. For amen Jehovah.
Amen. It's like a fight broke out and somebody asks you what really happened. And you try to tell the person a fight went on between Akwesi and Amma.
Where see what odinfo be your friend Samuel.
This happened between a prophet by name Samuel.
And now you be your friend Saul.
And a king by name Saul.
And now Onyankopon tem.
And God.
Na mame emfa wo emfra kiremra na yemesi asem ni suye pa. De di kan Bible mu Saul mienu ne wom.
First of all, in the Bible there are two Saul.
Kase Saul mienu.
Two Saul.
Kase Saul.
Saul.
It's
amazing that Ghanaians don't name their children by the name Saul.
Are they?
Why?
Saul, why are they?
What has Saul done to you?
Truthfully,
there are two Saul in the Bible.
The first Saul, Saul, David.
The first Saul is Saul, who was a king, and God dethroned him and brought David to be king. And so the second Saul was the one who turned into Paul. He was the one who wrote the Romans,
Ephesians,
the Ephesians,
Colossians,
the Colossians,
First Corinthians, Second Corinthians, First Thessalonians,
Second Thessalonians,
Third Thessalonians, and the Galatians.
He was the one who wrote Galatians. He was the one who let Titus wrote Titus.
First Timothy.
He wrote First Timothy.
Second Timothy.
Second Timothy.
Third Timothy.
Third Timothy.
Or no, and the bed than I know your friend is Saul better than Paul.
He was the one called Saul who turned into Paul.
Saul, I know can answer me anyway.
The Saul I'm talking to you about is not this one.
And yes, Saul no better than Paul.
It is not the Saul who became Paul.
Saul, I may can answer me. Saul. Or no, you too, no, Emma David.
The Saul I'm talking to you about is the one who was dethroned for David to become king.
No, answer me, king.
He is the one I'm talking to you about.
Lift up your
hand and say, obedience is better than sacrifice. In that time, Saul was king. Listen to this very well. And there was a town who was bordering Israel. There was a town who was bordering Israel.
Now, country where you know now, Israel for any years.
And so this country sat on the joy of the Israelites.
The Amalekites.
The country is known as the Amalekites.
Amalek for the Amalekites. Now, no more Tata Israel.
And so they were after the Israelites.
Now, the Agag.
And the king of that country is called Agag.
Tiamu ka say Agag.
Agag.
Can you ka say Agag?
Agag.
Na Agag ena ye Amalek for omo hene.
And Agag was the Amalekite king.
Ghana ha your president say ya Mahama meboa.
In this country now, our president is His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
Who call a Cote d'Ivoire say Watara oh.
When you go to Cote d'Ivoire, it's Ouattara.
Amalek for so no mon so a leader that time. Near friend Agag.
And the Amalekite, their leader is called Agag.
Tia 70 about. A man ran for no Cassami Amatuni say, Shuti ye chain affordable.
Don't forget, I'm speaking to you this morning on the sermon titled Obedience is Better Than Sacrifice.
Na sa Amalek for no almost some bosom.
And these people serve an idol.
Now, him. Aya, Krobia, a some bosom. At that time, Omadi Bia, no Omo de Shessa bosom no nai. It's my memory example. Hold on. Say, Edianeba Cronimua, almost say a bosom no Namanaba. Say, a moa, a man and tree, no munai dorsua, almost say a bosom. And everything of Obibia quite ye bia, or say a bosom. And I'm a Yidianaba. And everything about them, no more attribute to a more bosom.
And so any country that worship an idol, they give allegiance to that idol. Whenever there's abundance of fruit and crops, they give allegiance to that idol, saying
Yes.
he is the one who gives them that great produce.
And with him, I'd rather catch Israel for that time. Israel for so he had the Saul.
And so God told the king of Saul, who was by that name, who was named by that time Saul.
Now, dear, or this Saul see ye, a yamini pot, didn't see ye, near friend somewhere.
And the prophet who enthroned the king is called Samuel.
The Samuel by catcher Saul say, Gather Israel for soldier for Namone Amalek for Nikoko, Moko amon finish or Montun Shawamoso, Mun say Bibia Wukrumo, Bibia Monsano, Bibia Monsano, and a mamma for Cronimua dear, Emma Israel.
And so the prophet Samuel told the people, led by their king Saul, that go to the Amalekites and kill them, and make sure never to bring anything that belongs to them into this country.
And for Cronimua dear be free Amalek Cronim Emma Israel.
Do not bring anything from Amalekite to this country.
So arrangement no agreement no the da and tokano mokokono sheshe da no.
And so these are the principles that were laid between these people.
And my refisa me no can say me amatu ni din say obedience is better than sacrifice.
Child of God, don't forget I'm speaking to you on a sermon titled Obedience is
Page
Better
on
Than
sacrifice
Sacrifice.
Jesus.
Lift up your hand and say Jesus.
Mama on sa left na tia mu candidate say Jesus.
Jesus.
Bodini ye ne din a ubo asoro ne fom papa ne boni nyina respond to. Tia mu Jesus mama.
Jesus.
Oso ba kotodwa e wo soro omomo ye papa. E fom ha nye asase ase nye. Bo so ni nyina obi akoto. Tia mu din Jesus ne ba akoma mama.
Jesus.
Enti Saul ka say mate.
And so Saul said, I've heard you.
Nti oni soldier oni Israel for ne kokon.
And so he went together with the Israelites to war.
No kra tokwa no na emu oden.
And truly the war was very vigorous.
But Saul ni Israel for finish Amalek for.
But Saul and the Israelites finished the Amalekites.
Omu kumo mu nyina.
They killed all of them.
Say kuro no.
Destroyed the country.
But Saul ekoya no kowura Amalek for na imfi.
And so Saul went into the idol place of the Amalekites.
And what che wo hene no.
And so he held the king.
Ohene no me bo ni din ahyase no me see your friend say. Your friend say.
Agag.
Your friend say.
Agag.
Yesua de o. Your friend say.
Agag.
Your friend Agag. To what che Agag. Na Saul na ni wura fi de Radika che no. I say France ya ne de. To what che na ode sika be si no say that me ntwaniti. But then ko Israel. Nam de na ko bo krone circle. No be able to say Amalek for ya finish one or hene no my area match.
And Saul wanted so much fast to the extent that he held the king of Amalekite. Instead of him killing him, he said, no, let me take him and place him in the middle of our country so that people will see that I I have been able to win those people.
Asama me no kan nyina e wo 1 Samuel chapter number 15 verse 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21. Etunim ebra woche wo hene no ye no okwa wo hene ne dan ye chi ene ohunu sa anantwie agurade na anantwie ne ye white wo muso wa anantwie na akono na anantwie ne so ye fe etu otwa anantwie ne sa na so da bi anantwie we de ye nkum omo me de anantwie ne ba Israel na me de omo beba afode.
And so, child of God, all that I'm telling you can be found in the Bible in 1 Samuel chapter 15, verses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, up to 21. And so when Paul held the king, he went to his backyard and he saw great and big fat cows. And instead of him obeying what the instruction was, he said, I'm going to take these cows and go and give sacrifice to God in my country.
And truly,
when you see the cows, you delight to prepare light soup.
May your research about Amalek for or more Emoa.
I did a research about the country Amalek, their animals.
Now may your research said they are not a cronimu moa in Unisifa.
And so I did a research to know how the cattle or the cows grow in that country.
Yeah, friends, all the bagana ha. Se unu ojan ana ponchia of ya yen o siremu a wa hu ya hu se esiremu die ni e na yen down ha nso hu e hu nso aponchia utumi hu ne clearly ana meboa
Eyampa o.
Oh, I said ye wa ma sole ana meboa
Eyampa o.
Onsa ne wa ha. Say, I am here.
I am here.
Unu esiremu enyan ne mponche na omo yade ade omo
so.
Ana uhunu ye nkran ye kumase ye Cape Coast ye Eastern region nso anantwie ne mponche na omo so yade ade omo etetale omo na your friend, if you don't mind me too, I don't mind you. Just say unsa wanyini panso wa pua. Na omono so ya na wapuaniti ode mami nyai kra se wo twami wo ha 3 days na ho sentim free ha ene na wo de ya nkwan no wo de wie na wo horo wonsa 3 days na gusu wonsa etu hunu se esirema na ntwie na wo wa esoso me ma practical example me ma wonamu ntiase bia obahunu se and yes, Saul, Bibia keke, but Amalek for na omunyan or ma ponchi no manantwi no, they were on another level. Na saa nete e wo yen time. Unu esiremu nantwie, unu esiremu odwan, unu esiremu aponchi a, unu clearly say, omo tenten omo kase, utumi unu esiremu odwan bi o te say. Obi okwa aponchi wo so wa. Sana na Amalek kuronso cho no man nantwie eye on another level. Nti abra Saul hu ye no so nantwie we dey. Me do mo ba be bo afode.
And so, child of God, let me give you a typical example. When you see any cattle which is from the northern region, you see that they have grown very fat and so big. And when you come to this part from Greater Accra to the central region and other ranges, theirs is very short and so small, but they are very old in age. So the servants of the Lord is giving us a typical example that Saul did not only see the cattle to be fresh, but he saw them to be very big and pleasing in the eye. So he thought that he could sacrifice it to God. And so he brought the king to Israel. And he brought along the cattle. But don't forget that what was said was that never bring anything from that country to Israel. Someone will ask, why did God give such an order?
What is wrong with that?
If somebody had gone to purchase a cattle saying he wants to sacrifice to God, what is the matter in it?
na ama bosom ne ehonwom edidi krona de biachi.
Because there's an idol in that country, it allows that idol dominates everything that consists in that country.
Eti nyame ani so no ade bi ewo kro no no enye clean.
And so before God, anything in that country is not clean.
Eti ensesa wo fa kro ni mu ade e ba Israel.
And so you are not supposed to bring anything from that country to Israel.
Tiamu na ka say Jesus.
Shout and say Jesus.
Enti ade a na nyame ka ho ade no. The understanding of God and the understanding of Odifo Samuel, not Saul, Unya Santiasiano.
And so, what God was saying, and per the understanding of Saul, he did not understand it.
At times, Subetumakandia Ukunu, Oyere, Oba, Unia. It can even be your worker. They are now penny every worker. Akolano ko to me the different because he onyenya the foresight na wo penny when you know. It will call ordinary general and teasie and a quay almost one you know. No, I get at the end, why you know I any different from the old children. But the national, I say, be our the writing. But the woman said, well, you have the foresight of the opinion. Now, Basa, in fact, when you are giving orders, you don't obey orders with your understanding. You obey them because you were told to do what you were told to do. Shannon, you can't hear Terewa. Anasi yɛkyerɛ wade a yɛnkyerɛ wade sɛ sɛdeɛ wote aseɛ na fa yɛ yɛkyerɛ wade sɛ deɛ yɛakyerɛ wo no kɔyɛ no fa amen hyɛ hɔ baa.
Amen. Child of God, at times when an elder tells you to do something, because we do not have the foresight and do not understand what the elder means, we tend to do something different. They don't get the foresight. That is why they do different things from what they are being told.
So
take notice.
And so God
sees that when you bring anything from Amalek to the country, you have brought something, a curse into it.
Mama can't tell. O office where you may if you Munina will be a free fee in the back office, will be a bedroom. Mama can't tell. Dear Didi will be a chin so bahu. Dear son will be about Sameme son bosomoa. Baby, I may would be a made a bosom about. One so sure now, someone, baby, I would be an eduachi. And a bassa baby, I want. Who only say Nippon here, but will be a source of life. I will hope. It in Yami won't say, would they an engineer or hen and a bower or hen and an engineer almost saucy a bosom into the bosom now the other.
Child of God, we may be 5 or 10 in an office. When we leave our houses to the office, what is fighting us follow us into that office. And so God was seeing that when Saul sacrificed that cows or cattle in that country Israel, he is bringing an idol because before God, he sees the king and the cattle as idols.
So for a cow, neighbor to her, I am smart. Try when he say. Would you obey a normal echoes worker? Ufu player, neighbor to her. My mouth secret. Ufro car. Check it, you can echo Jenny. Would a car no move from station where you're smart? Try when Nika Crab say. Would you obey or walk animal? Ninyam me crani t-shirts or friend. The two fruit player, a bra bomb pine, will be so yana say. A bra will be so son a cow. A bra was so cow and will be so was son and I say. Oh, be a friend, and do I also car now with you? Spirits are what kind of baby? I will be a t-shirt. Or the own Shannon, Sasso, Mabono, by Fan Quay the other.
Child of God, another example. When you are.
Hold on, the Amalekites with Odium winning now. Why, yes, Matu? Can you move? We are now through play a move. A yes, a move now. What they are trying to say. Both will be a baby. Your acramony, friend. You are joining occult to friend. Obibia, Yamia, I am Kotoba. Obi atona DNA I have heard you obi heard you and say obi so be say obi so na ni hwe mu say obi so kra de ne sabefa so say obi a wo de ya kire aya smart o aya kodwoma no pa tututu na ko he e bra wo gina wo store bo mpa ye obi so pete no ma obi so kra ba wo de ade bo obi so kra ba wo de bibi na obehu ana ba mo wo no say e kantamanto market e yo kanshi market. But the Nyame a wahono a dosopa.
And so, child of God, another example which the servants of the Lord just gave us, that when you bought a car going on a long journey, immediately the car is about to take off. Take a smart look and just look at the people or passengers around. Everybody is calling on the sources where their head is under. They are calling on that God to take them and bring them back safely. Also, when you wake up and go to our marketplaces to sell, in the morning you see people performing rituals, pouring items on their wares for customers to come. Everybody has its sources of where they come from.
But I believe what?
Amen.
Enti Awurade ka kyerɛ sɛ ɛmfa obi bia mfa kuro no mu adeɛ ma wode ba wode spirit kuro no spirit aba.
And so God told the prophet never to bring anything from that country to Israel, because when you bring anything from there, you have brought an idol.
Now him ɛbrɛ ba saa no odiifoɔ Samuel wɔ hɔ a na Awurade ne kasa. Yɛnkɔ 1 Samuel chapter 22. 1 Samuel chapter 15 verse 22. 15 verse 22. 15 verse 22. So Samuel said, Samuel wunu ya on a radical no radical said Samuel, for catcher saw, say Adiano the other Kuruman, when you free her. Hey, Adiano the Abai. Catchers when you free, I mean, Pesa, I'm not Corona spirit, I would have Israel for being issues. Debbie, or Henry or Nabasa, Messi won't for Corona Bibiama. Watch your hand in the number. Or from one and trade in Adeba. Why? Or the Bayadang. One my Corona spirit, the Wura Israel Cronim, and then I'm compound. Koneko catch and say, yes, son, she say, and I'm in a year. 1 Samuel 15:22. Go!
So Samuel said, has the Lord as great delight in burnt offering and sacrifices?
Somewhere there before by Shia, so no so, what is your problem? I say, oh. And talk on your dink couldn't be fine. Macho or Henry quite a number. No, sir, nothing I am Cassanchero. Also, may finish. I will be able to say Israel for your opa. No, see, no. Erade Casa. That was not the arrangement. And I say, Namwa Ben or Mubeti or Musuye de was oh. Metian and Trade or Mua was almost opa. May a fine. Or may I cassia come. And your mobile for dear Radiani Bejo opa. Now, someone say, how? How? Abraham can't tell. So Samuel said, God.
Has the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices?
Otherwise, you say, Radiani, a for dear home, and or Mamu Bebre, sa, a saying, Koi.
As in obeying the voice of the Lord.
A young sent here, Radi, and J. So, for the man of saying, so would tear your waka.
Behold.
Dear.
Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice.
See, to obey is better than sacrifice.
And to heed than the fat of rams.
Maminti America,
amen.
I say, wouldn't him the entire a radical choice and farm where you maha. The entire also do mobile. Wouldn't him Sabre name a radical free.
And that time God became angry.
Na afi erade post Saul.
And God deserted Saul.
Na ade see and say afi from that day and erade to Saul.
And from that day God dethroned him.
Na ehon erade fa ne ho adwene so be replace Saul with David.
And God made up his mind to replace Saul with David.
Ade bia obi anhye sa ade nso ne say Saul and yes, what
everybody must take notice of that Saul did not do any great sin. It is the requirement of God that he disobeyed. It is the arrangement of God that he disobeyed. It is the directives of God that he disobeyed. And so God saw that he had disobeyed him. What we need to take notice is that when we disobey God, it is greater than any sacrifice.
And David over Saul was not said, not Saul, Wakofobi, and now Wakumobi, and no. It was said, and
so for God to replace David with Saul wasn't as if he did any great sin of sleeping with somebody's wife. No, it was that he disobeyed.
No, it was he
did not commit any terrible sin as we know. No, just that he disobeyed the directives of God. What everybody needs to understand is that obedience is heavy. What is obedience? Obedience is a person following the directives laid on. A person obeying the directives. Whether the directives is between human and human. It's between him and husband.
A boss and name a worker.
Or between a boss and a worker. And between the people in the country and the constituents. An arrangement, disobedience. And so an arrangement which a person disobeys, that is disobedience.
Say onipa akola ye shutie man mama ne papa omoto na to a point to say one ya ugina chire be yo say akola kwa waye ne mama ne papa duru.
When a child is respectful, the parents love him to the extent that you, the person aside, would think he had done something special to the parents.
Amara fi say akola ye shutie obedience. Akola ye shutie man mama ne papa. When a
child is obedient to his parent, they love and adore him or her. Take notice of this.
Say Jumayani obedient. Boss and madam or done too much.
When a worker is obedient to its boss or madam, they love and adore them too much.
Well, you should at the Bamaono. If you are fasting 40 days, going to me for had your obedience so everything must send our life. Satan going to me said.
What obedience can destroy in your life, Satan can never destroy it.
Am I right? Saul, akonye free ne sano, enye Satan a different.
Take notice that what Saul lost was not because of Satan.
It was disobedience.
It was disobedience.
Moses and Canaan so not because the devil prevented him, but because he disobeyed God.
Moses and Canaan so and just because of because he disobeyed God.
Satan not blocking no. At times disobedience. Child of
God, at times disobedience, what it can cause us is greater than what the witches can do to us.
At times their disobedience to my cause on. At times what
disobedience can cause, your enemies cannot even do it.
And obedience so at the bit to the amount. One way our and
what obedience can give you, your loved ones, when they are joined together, they can never give you. Lift up your hand and say, Jehovah, help me.
Disobedient. Or by obedient to Nikuna, or done to a point to say, that's why I do. So obiti fear no you disobedient to the landlord that they be here and talk. Ghana your way amrawa how me catch it. Say ubu Ghana maraso ubu wunu say Ghana marao area there ewa. Ade a shuti e de be ma ono. Why we our bra bom anamu to kran to me fama. You move baby a confusion all because of disobedience. You see, Omre Juma 9, Odura Juma 10. You begin a dear friend Juma, Tibek Penny Penasset. Obine Penny Quabaco, Odura Juma and San or Noaba. A day a bear man is on pet or barnes on pet, and no now yet. Your mammy do our tea, neba disobedience in tea. A yaneba on one a wound over we yin a banefree nakumim. A man and yes, an anate. Yamu disobedience in tea, the other hair. Nyamesi twu fra tro adwaman ensa akayo krono wiasesem eno an nipa no so obeye enti disobedience be kwa kopie ba bia ne tamfo kra ntimi mfa ne nko onipa nso ye obedient a obinya nyame nchen akọ yemu bebre ye problems a ye fam awo ya brabum eye disobedience efi a watim oni asumdue because the ye kire ne sem onye ne no no ye obre wa brabum because the ye ka kire ne sem onye ne no no ye akola disobedience tena school musua de onye ochini oko club onana mo obohu se beba no wayi FFF university no okwa beba no wayi 7th class na ade ekura no de ye adwuma enyeyi disobedience na ade e womini obi bia oye obedient to God emanyame di wachi eti emu bebre ya setena ya nam aka ye nko ahụ wo de wa ho ode na eye obedience manyame di wachi obi bia oye obedient bia na sum jono uni asumdue because you are disobedient obi ya ne wonka wani nye wo fie wani nye wo adwumam wani nye wo wade yem de ya wade de ye relationship kura na aye basa because the nipa ne so won pe eno na wo ye uye bibia mo na mane utu wana ose nko ho ose meko ose menye ose meye panyini ne so won pe we ose no a o man ne mra no ne hwehwe yem say na te ose da bi meye different thing. Disobedience ama so le lusu na hini enti wo asode ahodo se na waye ama asɛ wo no ma pa kɛseɛ ɛna Awurade kasa kyerɛ wo ɛyɛ sɛ ɔde w'ahoɔden pem wɔ abrabom ɛyɛ but let me tell you one way abɔbɔ mpa yɛ anya adwuma one disobedience bɛma be lose wɔ adwuma no we serve for a long time. And they are winning a trust of a man. I'm one disobedience, one disobedience, mama, or dofubi when you're in favor, best separate. Disobedience, be man, you remember training work free war. One disobedience, be jawama, I mean, you maybe jawama or tamfo. Or maybe I will get obedient to God. Obedient to life. O quite chide wa brabo. So open okra, so obenyana no, obebere. Because ade a wo twen so obeto ho mra na odi anyana no, obedi so nti wo nya no. Ufie ho, wo pass ndie. E mra afiewura, ena efiewura e ma wo edan a ono ko agreement. Obi okra wa tworo, na no no obi ka na odema wante. Ose ni fiewura mena odema no nyina, osan de ka ho se se me fie ha e fa wo so e ma me dan ne hye a obeye de ade. Oso obeye de ade. Obesi. Nti fiewura ma wo mra. Wo si dan ne bi de mia wani na hye hoy. Di so sai. Shonwi. Kroma. De ya mra di so. Ko obi fie ne ne nkoko. Opai wo kromfo a ye baba becho. Ghana mrem obi tena wasa ase so edi 12 years asase ne ye ne dia. So what tena baby di 12 years uninterrupted. Ghana mrem e yo dia. Nti wo wasa ase so obi tena so di 12 years na won kan ne hwe ya e kokota ye beji ama no. And no the cameras abobo traffic light baby ase. Wo de wutwa mu ewo bra ye red e bedu da wo kwakoye wo renew registration no ye betwa ka ma and dampare na de sa de ne bai ubo obi na emrani prove say wo di for na wabona oba compensate ni pa no be say dem 6 months e emra wo kromu a hyehyɛ bebre wa Bible says blessed are the pure in heart for they shall see God. Ba brabopa ubenye nyame nkyɛn akɔ fa amen sɛ hɔ ba
Amen.
One te me say fa amen sɛ hɔ ba
Amen.
abraba a wo ba wo bɔ ne sɛ deɛ wo pɛ ne deɛ ɛyɛ clear wo wakyerɛ wo kwan nyɛ deɛ obi yɛ na woyɛ bi obedience efiri ne yesu tie ma nyame wabra bom yesu tie wadwumam baabi a wo emre wo di so na abɛkyɛ wo hɔ mesi di so na abɛyɛ de ade
Na obɛkyɛ wɔ hɔ.
bɛrima na ɔne ne te ɔbaa na ɔne ne te no deɛ ɔso ɔmpɛ gyae manyɛ deɛ ɔpɛ yɛ ma no ɔbɛdɔ wapɛ wo te sɛ deɛ wayɛ na duro no so na nyɛ duro obi bi a woyɛ sutie ma nana wowe ne nipa ne trust ɛma nipa no ɔka asɛm kora kyerɛ no a wɔnwene ho because wɔwe ne trust wowe ne obi trust a ɔkyɛ wade a ɔnwene ho wofie hɔ wade yam wanam atuom wabra bom yɛsu tie hyehyɛ yɛ da wodi so sutie yɛ deɛ obeying the directives and the principles at the area at the particular time at the particular place di so sukuu a wokɔ suadeɛ abrabɔ mu kura mmara wɔ mu deɛ ɔwo so no watɔ deɛ ɔwo nso no wayɛ de adeɛ ne wagyae fa amen sɛ ɔbaa
Amen.
deɛ ɔwo so no wayɛ de adeɛ ne watɔ
Wato.
deɛ ɔwo nso wokɔtɔ a woayi asomdue afiri w'abrabɔ mu meso woayi deɛ na afiri w'abrabɔ mu
Asomdue.
woyɛ obedient to your life a asomdue wobɛnya
Amen.
deɛ ɔwo nso yɛ ntɔ ɛnso obi mfa nyɛ wadeɛ menkɔhwɛ despite mfa nkɔyɛ me party because me nuru despite ɛna menkɔhwɛ ni ama ɛmfa ma yɛ me birthday because me nuru ni ama sɛ woanya saa nteaseɛ wei ama wabrabɔ a ɔwɔ nyɛ de adeɛ
Tɔw.
ɛna yɛ obi ɔhɔ obi bɛtumi ayɛ birthday aware ahan dan atua ebi a $10,000 a month ne nyina soɔ ntia wo nyina soɔ nuru saa sɛ wokɔsua saa deɛ no yɛ bi a wokora deɛ wobɔ fam a wontumi nyɛ de adeɛ
Timi sorry.
yɛ obi yɛ ɔnɔma bi wɔ hɔ a di so di so yɛde saa pɛpɛɛpɛ na wasoma dwo tɔkwa bi wɔ hɔ a nko twa so because baabi a bɛkeka akɔ no kɔ bɛfa wo time afa wo sika twa so asɛm bi wɔ hɔ a yɛnye wo akyi because deɛ ɔno ne gye wo akyi no ayɛ sɛ polisi ni agyina wo na wokɔ wopɛ asɛm ama ho polisi ni onya hyɛ atade black na ɔwɔ tumi kyɛ ho ogyina wo a yɛde adeɛ gyina ɔbɛ waste your time kɛkɛ ɔbɛka kyerɛ sɛ okay let's go to the station bɔkɔ akɔdu station hɔ na yɛalɔko wo car no na yɛagye wo safoa na ɔkɔ fie ɔkɔda polisi ni bi abɛbusa no bi ɔbɛka kyerɛ sɛ wo case no ɛwɔ akwete hɔ nti agye sɛ akwete ba na nka wogyina a yɛ 5 minutes ne maa na ɛnka yɛde adeɛ kɛsɛ tena wo nsa right no obedience wede asɛm no nsi wo nipadua wei yɛ obi wɔ ha a ɔdi nkatea na nsan gu n'anim wodi nkatea sa be obedient to what you know obi ɔdi nkuruma a na ɔrane umogya ne type no deɛ teɛ no no obey that thing ekodi nkɔyare ɛmɛ ka nkyerɛ stop sɛ meme break ma wo sɛ mene me sa to so break ne firi wa sɛ ne mesi adwa atwɛdeɛ no ofie ro nim sɛ ne kokonyɛ ɛnha no adwuma wura mpɛ nipa enti avoid certain mistakes wasom bɛdwo Me so was so bad the idea.
Ebecho.
Throw Sunday in fast. Obi ababon bosia bia wotua enti advice ho e mobosia obi busa obi bi na wo bia na wo de aye de ade eye abrabom ntiasie bi e wo so oye de ade wo so wo obi di wa ade anim ye wa ade ma obi a enye yi wo so koye bibi bia na wakofere obi ade a wa wo ntumi ntiasie na agi so obi na be kire wo mu ne jaye. Well, and talk about what to mean consolve. I just saw Kofre will be no Abekumbiamana and started Santokano. Because Kofre ni Pano Ame. And now Kono are you busy? We are Jumaya 2005, 2006. Oba also she are now so penny. Ada Ushiana catches up and then you may not offer us a pizza. Pizza here was small size, your medium size, or large size. Size a band or power, some pay large size. And a milkshake. Hey, now only large size anymore. Large size and 130, 140. And a milkshake you see a 50 Ghana. Say no, 200 minus 1,005 one day. I just say, oh, mobra. The number no what me a block say na block. At one time, you simple obedience. Simple obedience. A Papa was now in 30 days. Ukra 1,005. Edimu 200 a day. Oh, back to a simple obedience. Tia nenya sumye. And I'm a man, and to ensure one can I'm to do. Hey, who shall be 3 days here now, Mamma Yari? Hey, Nanny, 1 week in the Asani and Nabush, your opinion in a bayard. To Mamma Yari of Social.
Pay!
Ukra iPhone. And a boy about 140 million. One should need 3,000 crowd our bank account. Now to Oya Pepe. Oya Boko there. Pemmy also said the Boko there. Ewa bra, Safune Krawi, and Kau save you. I don't know for 30 million on top phone. Now for 140, no any fixed deposit. Man to be able to make 300, 400, 500 account. Na se no ma ye na wa bra bo level ne kosora e be du ba bi mo so level na bro 140 ne so e no fa 140 kwa kwato ade a e te say the 1 CD ayere ade ayera wo so bi na ka che say ye sotie ma bra bo na ho beto akọ gisi akọ hand down a friend is saying airport residential a dan ka na bosome 40 million 25 million because person you hunu say on so wo e bra obeje dan wo dan so man weja kasoa ha oje dan wa kwetema sa 40 million a month no e ho e betuma tua be yet say 6 months chese obi nti onye sutie ma wo ho wa manyame kore bre and one my before na juma na yamre enti abaifo no omo ko ma relax because mo wonim say wo akasa o ye o ho dada so le na yamon pai so le na yamon pai catch any perform ma na catch and say sutie yes here for the ball